You're watching Play Replay with Async. On this show, I talk about movies and video games and whatever I feel nerdy about at any given time. This is a spoiler review for Black Adam. So, the movie was pretty fast moving. It kind of went right to the point, got right to it. It's very, it feels like it's a little rushed sometimes. And I feel like the main villain could use some work. But overall, the movie's really, really well done. I have no problems with it. The critics are the only ones that seem to have a problem with this, but the audience seemed to have no problem. The people that watched this movie with us, basically it seemed like they all enjoyed it just as much as I did. So I don't see what the problem is with these critics. But it's not an Academy Award winner. It's going to be up there around the same level as like a Fast and the Furious movie or a Superman movie, a Man of Steel or something. But yeah, the movie's pretty good. The Rock plays Black Adam, but he kind of plays himself. He just plays a darker version of himself. What did you expect? And he's basically kind of a good guy, kind of a bad guy. He's kind of just right down the middle. So that's pretty much what you can expect out of this character. And there's a lot of other things like Hawkman. He's awesome. Dr. Fate, he's pretty cool too. But there's two other characters, Atom Smasher and Cyclone, that really don't get a lot of background. Well, Hawkman doesn't get very good fill in for a background either. But he's much more in the front. He's really kind of shown off very well, and I think they did a great job with Hawkman. So I'm hoping to see him in another movie down the road. Dr. Fate is pretty cool too. He's basically the first version of Doctor Strange, because technically Dr. Fate came before Doctor Strange in the DC universe, before Marvel even had a Doctor Strange. But Dr. Fate is just kind of an older guy played by Pierce Brosnan. He's got some cool scenes as Dr. Fate, and he does have some cool elements he can do. There's some great fight sequences, and he does have some great scenes in the movie. But he does die. That's a spoiler. So you probably won't see him in another film, unfortunately, unless they find a way to bring him back, which they like to do that in a lot of different ways. They figured out a way to bring the Wizard back from Shazam, so I mean, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen in the future. Let's move on from Dr. Fate to Atom Smasher. He turns into a giant. He kind of reminds me of like Ant-Man, and he's kind of a humorous character. He's a likable character, but there's not a lot of fill-in. You know, you don't really know where he comes from. You don't really get too much information about him. And the same goes for Cyclone. She's a cool character. She's very likable, and she's interesting, but they don't give you much about her. Really anything, barely. And she just basically can make like a cyclone, like a storm tornado. Anyway, but yeah, that's her little background. But as far as Black Adam goes, down the road, he's going to be in a Shazam movie. He has to, because he's a Shazam villain. So I don't know how they're going to do this, especially with him playing an anti-hero. So he's kind of good, kind of bad. He's going to be playing like a neutral, I think. So I think he might be able to fight these heroes down the road. And then maybe they can do something with that. I don't know. They're definitely going to have to do something with it, because the same wizard that made Shazam is the same wizard basically that worked with Black Adam. So there is that. This is the story of Black Adam and how he came to be. And it's pretty simple and straightforward. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. He ends up getting these powers from his son, who got the Shazam power. And then his son died, and then he ended up taking the powers. That's how it goes. The movie ends with him being like a king of a nation. So I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. And, of course, you get to see Superman at the end. He shows up, and, of course, Amanda Waller is trying to tell him to stay in his own country, you know, because she's an American. I don't know what her jurisdiction is, but I don't understand why she could tell another person to stay in their country. It seems a little strange. Yeah, so that's pretty much the story altogether. And the Superman scene was very cool, and it was awesome that he said, Black Adam, we should talk. In other words, he's not all about going out and just fighting right away. I hope that we get more communication and have Superman actually thinking and talking and actually being Superman in whatever version of whatever we're going to get, where they actually have to fight or they actually have to work things out or whatever. If it's Superman 2, then is Black Adam going to be the villain? I don't know. I think Brainiac should be, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, obviously Black Adam makes it through this movie. He survives. Dr. Fate's the only one that dies, and that's kind of a big spoiler. It's a good movie. I enjoyed this movie. Everybody in our theater seemed to enjoy this movie. One woman, when she walked out of the theater, said, it was a pretty good movie. I can't wait to see the next one. So that's always a good sign, right? And from what I'm seeing is the audience scores are pretty good, and it seems like it's making good money. So I can't wait to see what happens. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out greatly. That's Black Adam, a spoiler review. Thank you for watching.